What's up, guys? So today I'm going to be putting a lift on my RZR. It's a 3 to 5 inch lift. I picked it up cheap off eBay actually. The seller had it posted for like, I think it was right around $100. I think it was a little more than $100. And I just put in an offer for like $60 and ended up taking it. So it just got here today. So I saw a couple videos on YouTube, but they weren't, they didn't like dig down into it, if that makes sense. So I wanted to make a video that actually kind of showed the entire process. They just kind of talked about it. So that's what I'm gonna do here today. I will flip the camera on here in a second and show you what the kit looks like. But as you can see, for right now, I've just jacked it up and popped off the tires. So here's the kit. These mounts right here are for the rear. This is a spacer that it'll end up going in there like this on the rear. Then we've got spacers for the bolts themselves. As you can see here, there's 3 different lengths, 4 of the tallest ones. Here, let me. And then you've got medium and short. I'll just knock those over. But then we've got all our hardware, the bolts, washers, bolts and washers for the front. So yeah, there is 2 different sets. So there's some thicker ones, and that's for all the rear. And then you've got these thinner ones, and they go in these front plates. So these are the plates for the front, as you can see here. So I'll show you how to get to that. I'm gonna start on the back first because it looks like it was the hardest. So yeah, but this is what the kit looks like. It's a 3 to 5 inch. Like I said, you can find them on eBay and Amazon. They're reasonably priced. So yeah, basically all it's gonna do is I put that mount up here and it pulls the shock back to give it more compression to make the RZR sit up higher. So yeah, we're gonna get into taking this coil over, shock, whatever you wanna call it, take that off, and then see what it takes to get the mount up and over and on there. All right, guys, so I lied a little bit. It's been 2 days since that last clip. The rear lift ended up being such a pain that I was just not gonna do it. And to be honest with you, I was so mad because I couldn't get it on that I just went ahead and did the front lift, and I was like, forget it, I'm not gonna make a video. But I think with the, I guess you call it research that I did, this is gonna be super helpful for anyone that puts this kind of lift on. Because what I've done is I don't wanna say fabricated because I didn't quite fabricate anything, but I've cut the mounts that go on the rear to make it way easier. Like, you don't have to lift your bed, you don't have to do any of that. Because the first night that I tried doing this, I took all the bolts out of my bed, I tried lifting it up, but I've got snorkels and my cage is lower, or it's a chop cage, I don't know, it's aftermarket, whatever you wanna call it. So my bed kept hitting that and it wouldn't lift up, and I was getting so mad. I was saying every cuss word you could think of. I mean, I apologize. Sorry, Mom and Dad, but it was making me so mad. So then I started basically just doing a little thinking the past couple days, and I figured out how to make it work. And I just installed the other side because I wanted to make sure it would work for sure. This side is done, which it'll be the same process, but this side, the passenger side, is done. And I'm gonna show you guys what I did, but yeah, so hopefully this will be helpful to everybody that, you know, has these kind of mounts, or lift, whatever you wanna call it. Unfortunately, like I said, I put the front on already, so I'm not gonna get video of that, but this is gonna save you a bunch of time, effort, and cuss words for the rear mount. So I'm gonna flip the camera here and show you guys what I did. Okay, so this is the rear mount now. I used a grinder and I cut it, but I wanna show you guys how I cut it. So originally this mount sat like this on top of each other. As you can see here, it was welded right here, and the mount was like that. And then there was actually another piece right here that went up. Yeah, they're over here. Another piece like this on there as well. So when I went online, I was looking for other lift kits to see if I could just buy a rear. And I ended up seeing there's a lift. It's literally the same exact mount, all the same holes and everything, but it didn't have this. So I'm like, heck, I can do without that. So I cut this off, get rid of that, and now it was just this. So I'm like, all right, that'll make it a lot easier. Now this is the only piece, you know, that I've got to get up under the bed. And yeah, so, you know, why make it harder? Because like I said, there was a lift sold by another brand. It was a name brand actually, and this is just like the cheap eBay one that didn't have that part. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna cut that off. And then as I was looking at it, I'm like, you know what? Because this spacer sits in here, and this can sit right there. Why does that need to be welded? The bolts will keep it together. The frame runs right through here. So, you know, why does that need to be welded together? So now I've cut this, and this is the piece that'll sit on the outside. So you're gonna have to do them two different ways. So this piece is the one that's gonna come from the outside. So what this allows you to do is just slip this piece right over top of the frame, and then you just put that piece on the inside, bolt them together, and you're good to go. Now, if anyone could please tell me why this wouldn't work, I would love to hear it, but you're still, now, this is one thing. You have to cut it to where you leave a lip right here. So I left the lip so that this does still hit it, it's just not welded. So this is still gonna hit it, but so if you cut it the other way, it'll slide, you know, up and down it, but you need to cut it this way so it still has that bump on top. But with all the bolts in, with this spacer in, I don't see how this won't work. And maybe one day I'm gonna get stuck on a trail and, you know, I'll learn my lesson, but I just can't see why this wouldn't work. So if you do see why it won't work, leave me a message in the comments and let me know, or maybe I'm gonna figure out broken down. But yeah, so basically all you're gonna do, cut that top mount off to keep it simple here. Cut that top mount off, cut it this way so you still have that lip. And then now I'm gonna show you guys how the install goes. But all you've gotta do, drop the coil over, pop that just right over top of the frame, bolt it together, and then bolt the coil over back in. So yeah, I just wanted to show you how it was cut first, because this, again, it's gonna save you so much time and effort and cuss words and everything else. So yeah. All right, so this is 18 millimeter, and the top is also 18 millimeter. So what I'm gonna do here is just unbolt the top, then unbolt this bottom one and remove the coil over, and then show you guys what's next. All right, so I've got that off. You wanna be careful taking these off. They've got spacers, I guess you would call them. It's got a little rubber O-ring, and then this little spacer in there. These will fall off. Yeah, both the top are still on there too, but they will come out, so be easy. I've just got this set to the side now. I've got my rock lights on here also, if you need rock lights. turbotrucklighting.com. That's my brand, but they're bright as hell, so definitely recommend these. If you need me to, I think I've actually got pictures on my website of them on my RZR. But back to the point of the video. Now I've just got to cut these zip ties off. It's the wire for my rock lights and that kind of stuff. So I got to cut these so I can get the mount up on there. And then once I get the mount up on there, I'll come back to you guys. Just to show you guys how easy this is now, I'm going to do it with one hand. Line that back piece up. You see? And then just, yep, there it goes. Slips right over top. So yeah, it was either this or pull my cage, snorkels, all that, so I can lift the bed up and throw that whole mount on there. But this, gonna do the same job. So yeah, now I'm just gonna put the other side of that plate on, keep my rock light wire out of the way, put the other side of that plate on, and then I'll put this rear bolt in to show you guys how the spacer and everything works. All right, so as you can see, I got the front one on, got the rear one on, put the nut and the washer on. This is the largest spacer. There's 4 of them. They all go, the largest spacers in this kit all go where the shocks used to be, front and rear. There'll be 4 of them, so the large ones all go where the shocks used to be. But yeah, so I got this on. Now, next thing I'm gonna do, put this up, line it up, make sure it's hitting and everything. Put these bolts in, and then, well, actually I'll put the spacer in and then put the bolts in, and I will show you how that all goes together. All right, so I got this spacer in here. All you do, just lay it across the top of them up against the frame. And let me zoom out a little bit so you can see kind of where I am. So here's your frame. All you do is lay it across there, just like that. Well, I'll tighten it down, so obviously it's not gonna be able to move. And then make sure, like I said, that this back plate is under that top piece on the back side. So that way it's not, you know, able to move up and down. Next, I'm gonna get the top of the coilover back in here and then tighten all my hardware down. So yeah, very simple. Okay, so I got all the bolts back in. I haven't tightened them down yet. Also, don't tighten these down. I may have just said this in the last video, but don't tighten these down because it makes it way easier getting this in. On the other side, I tightened those down first and then tried to get this in. And because there is a, well, I'm gonna have to turn my phone. Because there is a spacer on the back side of the coilover, it makes it hard to get it in there because it's just real tight. So make sure you leave these loose. Yeah, but yeah, so that spacer, it's the, I wanna say, I think it's the medium one, because there's the smallest ones, there's the medium ones, and there's the large ones. So I think it's the medium ones. They go on the inside, and that's to pull your shock away from hitting all this stuff in here. Right now, on the driver or passenger side, mine's actually rubbing my, what do I want to call that? Sorry, I keep filming, stripping down. Mine is actually rubbing the, okay, I'm blanking. Exhaust, sorry, I was blanking. So hopefully when I let it back down and the whole suspension settles, that'll, you know, fix that problem. But if not, then I'll have to address it. But yeah, back to my point. So we've got this all in here. Gonna tighten all this down, and then this is kind of, honestly, this is probably the hardest part, is getting it to go back together because you're, you know, higher now. So we'll get to that next. I'm gonna tighten all this other stuff down, and then I'll show you guys how I did this. All right, so I have no idea why. This side literally swung it forward, bolt went right in. It does help if you take the plastic shield off here. It's a couple Torx bits. Sorry, sun's starting to go down. It's a couple Torx bits, or a couple, it's 3, so it's actually a few, I guess. You just take that off so that way it'll slide right in. But yeah, the other side I was like having to stand on while my girlfriend was pushing the bolt through. It was a process, so don't ask me why this side went way easier. I'm thankful it did. But yeah, just take that front plate off, makes it easier to slide on there. But yeah, so there it goes. Now I just gotta put that plate back on, tighten this lower bolt down, throw my tires back on, and then she'll be good. I'll show you guys a video of the whole thing after. All right, so the suspension hasn't, I literally just got done putting it all back together, so it hasn't settled yet. But yeah, as you can see, tires are still facing in. So I need to go drive it around for a second, but it significantly raises it up. Thankfully, off the exhaust now. I figured it would be, but yeah, so I just need to go drive it now, let the suspension settle back down a little bit, and we'll be good to go. But I figured, I actually also I mean, it's significant. It says 3 to 5. I was supposed to have, I measured from the roof to the top of my garage, just to make sure that I would have enough space. And it was like 7 inches. Now that I've put this on, which granted the suspension still has to settle, but I don't know if it's gonna make it out of here. So I may have to, you know, under the roof and all that. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. Sorry, I didn't get to show you guys the front. It's really self-explanatory. It's just, well, you can't see it, but it's just 2 plates, put them on both sides, 2 bolts on each side, and then, yeah, you bolt that back in. So pretty simple there, but yeah, really happy with this. Definitely giving me the ground clearance that I wanted. So I went back and rewatched that video, and I didn't like how I ended it because I wanted to give you guys a little more in depth on this front piece. So as you can see here, you'll get 2 plates. One will have notches in it. As you can see, when I first tried to put this on, I kept putting it over the front. Well, it goes in front of your frame support right here. And then you can see the other one sits on the front. If I can get a view from right here. Yeah, that's my winch box. But so it sits right here in the front, and it sandwiches this right here. And this is the biggest, let me see if I can get a, so this right here, yeah, well, you can't really tell, but where your shock was before, this is one of the biggest spacers. So you put the biggest spacer in there, tighten that down, and then I can't get it to focus, but there's a spacer right in here too that'll come with these kits when you bolt in the coilover back in, or shock, whatever you want to call it. The one that I put in here is the smallest spacer that comes in the kit. So you've got the smallest one that goes with the new bolt and shock mounting point, and then you've got the biggest ones that go where it was before when you mount that plate on. But as you can see, you just push these 2 plates up and, you know, bolt them down. So it's pretty simple. And like I said, smallest spacer, biggest spacer. And then when we come to the rear here, I might have mentioned this earlier, but you know, I just like to clarify. Put all that on, and this is the medium-sized spacer right here. Well, won't focus, but yeah, there you go. So that is the medium-sized spacer right here, and it goes towards the razor, or towards the center, I should say, on both sides. And that's so that, you know, it doesn't hit your exhaust. Because like when I first put this on, like I said, it was rubbing on the exhaust, put the weight back down. But that just helps it to be more out. And that, like I said, that is your medium spacer, the one that's in the middle. And as you can see, where the old mounting spot for this was, I put one of the biggest spacers. So just wanted to clarify on that and give you a little more clarity on the front as well. But yeah, so now I feel like I can end this video.